I'm Alan Weiss, and this is the writing on the wall. Welcome to the writing on the wall. This is episode 31, How to Be an Object of Interest. Rule number 1, know a lot. Sounds simple, know a lot. I coached Miss America candidates. Before I coached them, and the reason I coached them was I was a judge. I was appointed to be a judge in a bar. That's a long story for another video. But when we were judging the contestants in the interview competition, some of the judges asked an interesting question. They said, name the 2 senators and the governor here in Rhode Island. Now, in Rhode Island, you see these people every day. We're not talking about Texas and New York here. Guess what? Of 17 contestants, 12 couldn't name our 2 senators and governor. Out they went in the interview contest. You want to be an object of interest? Know things. Here's an idea. The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. Read the newspaper. If you're well read, if you know what's going on, you'll be an object of interest. Listen more than talk. I know that's difficult, sometimes counterintuitive, especially if you're a professional speaker. But listen more than talk. I was at a party. I'm an introvert. And along comes the hostess, thought I was lonely. I really just wanted to drink in the corner. But she said, Alan, how are you? And I said, Dale, tell me what you do. And she said, I'm an emergency room nurse. I said, describe your average day. And she did, for 30 minutes. Listen more than talk, because you can't learn while you're talking. Don't one-up people, though. Don't you love the one-upsmanship that we see? You know, he beat me up pretty bad. You know, beat you up. He killed me. I'm actually dead. Don't one-up people. Just go with the flow. Try new things. I was at Mount Fuji in Japan, at the Fujiya Hotel in Hakone. And the group I was with were talking about trying local food all over the world. They were all global travelers. And I said, I would try anything. And they said, well, you ought to try the snail here. And I said, well, I've had escargot. How bad could it be? And at dinner, they presented me with the snail. The snail was slightly larger than Buddy Beagle, who you'll see on the crawl at the end of this video. And out it came from the shell with a loud pop, slimy as could be. I'll spare you the rest of it, but I ate it. It wasn't going to kill me. Try new things. It gets interesting, and you get good stories like this. Acquire some hobbies. Scuba dive, paint, learn to play an instrument. I'll show you something. I collect stamps. Oh, I know. What am I doing collecting stamps? Well, see this stamp? That's the first stamp ever printed, 1847, before the Civil War, and it's in mint condition, never used. I have 12, 14 albums like this. Yeah, I know it bores you, but it interests me, and sometimes it makes me an object of interest to others. Lionel trains. I have a 20-foot by 20-foot layout upstairs, all the trains I couldn't afford as a kid. People go up there, and their minds are blown. Makes me an object of interest. And you know what? They're great therapy. You know what I have here? This is a golf club. I think it's called a 5-wood. I'm not sure because I don't play golf. But this belonged to Bob Hope. And I bought it at auction on the Queen Mary II when I sailed on an Atlantic crossing. I bought a putter too, which I'm giving to my son for his birthday, which he'll learn about before this video comes out. Bob Hope's 5-wood, object of interest. So, what are you doing to make yourself an object of interest? And when you do so, be flexible. By the way, let me point out that building your fortune is not a hobby. Building money, creating money is not a hobby. That's business. You need pastimes. Money's just fuel for your life. But you have to be flexible. Remember when President Obama was just running for president? He's at some pancake shop, I don't know where, in Idaho or Nebraska or wherever, and the waitress offers him a pancake, not on his diet, wasn't going to eat it. Come on, one pancake won't kill you. Try new things. Be flexible. When we were first married, we lived in an apartment. And we were not dog people then because it was an apartment. We didn't have a Buddy or a Koufax. We had cats. And we invited company over once. And one of the women to come over was Linda Bauer. Linda Bauer had a crush on me before my wife and I were married. So my wife, for some strange reason, wasn't crazy about Linda Bauer. And Linda Bauer was very inflexible, not a flexible person, and didn't want to be near cats. Claimed she had all kinds of allergies. We didn't believe it, but that's what she claimed. Couldn't have cats around if she was going to be there. And amazingly, my wife said, that's fine. We'll keep the cat in the bedroom. I said, really? For Linda Bauer? My wife said, absolutely. I couldn't believe my wife was being so gracious. And so we had company that night. And near the end of the evening, Linda Bauer had flirted with me several times. My wife was remarkably calm. My wife said, why don't you get everyone's coats? And I went into the bedroom, and there was Linda Bauer's coat with our cat perched right on top of it. You got to be flexible. It really can help you. Consensus, is something you can live with, not something you'll die for. And so, stand like a rock on matters of principle, but swim with the tide in matters of taste. That's not me. That's Thomas Jefferson. Good advice then, good advice now. Build your vocabulary. If you want to be of interest, use metaphor, use analogy. We have to achieve escape velocity. Talk with interesting language, speak with interesting phrases, you'll be an object of interest. But you've got to talk your walk and walk your talk. I was making a speech in San Francisco. A fellow has volunteered to pick me up at the hotel, and we have about a 40-minute drive to the site where the speech is. And what do you know? I can't make conversation. Now, I'm an introvert, but you can't just sit there in silence. I'm doing my best. I'm talking about this, talking about that, nothing's happening. Dry responses. Yeah, well, maybe, What do you do? Oh. So finally I said to him in desperation, you must be a speaker. He said, well, I am. I'm going to the meeting. I said, well, what do you speak about? He said, oh, I'm a humorist. Come on, you got to walk the talk. I had somebody at the house here who I had never met, but purchased a day of my time at auction. He must have weighed about 380 pounds. Nice man, very large man. Off we go in the car to lunch, trying to make small talk. I said to him, what do you speak about? He said, health and fitness. Can't make this up. Walk the talk, talk the walk. You have to learn social skills. Stop putting your bread in my soup bowl. These aren't difficult things to learn. Envy and jealousy are the anti-matter of interest. And if you're envious or if you're jealous, you'll find that you're not an object of interest to anyone. And so, compliment people. Pay attention. Be positive. Pay people an unexpected compliment. See this vodka here? It's the most expensive vodka in the world. $350 a bottle. My wife gave it to me as a present. If you'll notice, it's half gone. That's an interesting story. If you see me, I'll tell you about it sometime. Well, what's more interesting than a white German Shepherd? Nothing I know. Koufax, let's go. In the car. Koufax, come on, Koufax. Let's go, Koufax. Come on, Koufax. Good boy.